So what's up, you guys? It's Adanna. I wanted to talk to you guys today because you're kind of in your transition month where at the beginning of April and a lot of people are getting ready to graduate. And as such, you're getting ready to graduate, but you're not only getting ready to graduate, you're getting ready to either look for a job or start a new job as a full-blown PA. So I think it's important that there are about like three important things that you should really be looking at. But I'm gonna list a couple more, obviously, but I wanted to touch on these three specific things because if you are looking for a job, it is important that you kind of address this or know the answers to these questions because it will make or break your experience in that particular position. So if you're getting a job as a PA soon or looking for a job or already have gotten a job recently as a new grad, this video is for you. Let's get into the video right now. Alright, so I know I said this video is for like my new grads. What's up, you guys? It's Adanna. Welcome back to my channel. Let's get that out of the way. But I did want to address the fact that it's not only for my new grads, it's for people that are getting into PA school. So like I stated before, April and May are kind of your transition months, as well as August and September. And these months, people are either getting ready to start PA school or graduating from PA school. And so when you're thinking about the graduation aspect, you're looking for a job because you've just spent over $100,000 on your education and now you need to kind of pay that back or support your family or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you're a little bit desperate, right? Because it's like, I have to start paying back these loans and this bill, like my bills, and sometimes you're not. But in either event, you really need to be paying attention to what kind of job you're getting. And so I wanted to address that. Like as a recent, I guess I'm not a recent new grad anymore, but you know, I was previously in this place like not too long ago, and I see a lot of students coming through now as I'm precepting that are in that, they're in that space of I need to find a job, or like I'm interested in this particular specialty, but I'm keeping my mind open. I need to figure out what I want to do, what specialty I want to practice in. I have some ideas, but I don't know yet. And so that's where obviously your interview is going to come in when you're job hunting and searching. And so when you are job hunting, I think it is super important to pay attention to these three things. So an interview, as I stated, with my PA school interview and any other job interviews that you may have, grad school interviews, you are being interviewed, but you're also interviewing the potential school and the potential employer. Okay, you have the opportunity to ask them questions as well, and make these questions count. Make them worth something. You know, don't just ask like, oh, you know, like, so what do you guys do for fun here? You know, who cares about that right now? You know, you need to ask questions like, what's the work-life balance for your providers here? Things like that. Those are the things that are important because you want to know like how you as a provider will be able to kind of like spend your time away from the job. You know, how much time you have, like what is their CME, you know, reimbursement? Is there any type of reimbursement with respect to like loan repayment? Those are like some of the questions, but I'm going to start with my three questions right now in terms of what you really should be paying attention to. And the first one is asking them, what is their retention rate? Okay, I think that is very important. It is key to understand, just like with PA schools, like what their attrition rate is in terms of how many students are actually making it from start of PA school to graduation. It's the same thing with your job. What is their retention rate? But you really do want to know and understand, how long are they keeping people? That's like the bottom underlying question, but you have to package it up very nicely and serve it to them so that it doesn't seem like, you know, maybe you're a negative person or whatever the case may be. But it is very important to understand that because that kind of gives you an insight into, okay, well, are people leaving here often? Do people like their job here? You know, if somebody's been here for 20 years, oh, okay, and they're not like related to the owners of the practice, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, like, you know, people really like their job here. And keeping in line with liking your job, you really need to ask them also, like, what is the community like, and what is the support like? So obviously, you're gonna ask questions like, oh, what's my workload? How many patients do you see, or am I expected to see, and things like that. But when you're thinking about that, like, your next really general question should be like, how supported am I? Like, are you expected to just kind of go and you don't have any support at all, or your attending is like in another state and you just call them if you need them for something? Are you really the sole provider at this like urgent care or practice or whatever the case may be, and there's not really somebody that you can go and ask questions to, bounce thoughts off of? Or are you sitting up here with a load of 25 to 30 patients, and you don't have anybody to help out when something comes in that's a little bit more acute, but you still have these patients to see? Like, what is that shared workload like, and is it shared at all? That is also something that you really need to keep in mind, because again, these are things that will negatively affect how you are, like your job satisfaction and your job retention, and just your life in general when you go home. Like, if you're exhausted and tired because you don't have any support and there's a lot of patients that you have to see, that's going to be a problem. It's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to be part of that lack of retention, if that's the case. So you want to keep that in mind. But my number one, okay, go get a piece of paper and pen and write this down. My number one thing that you need to be asking and looking for when you are interviewing is asking for a shadow day. Okay, so write it down, shadow day. That is what you need to ask for, and that is especially important because as a student, you don't always see like the ins and outs. You don't always see like the little nitty gritty stuff. You may have like 2 patients that you're responsible for, and you're in the OR all the time, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is exciting, this is great, this is sexy medicine, I want to do this, it's just like the movies, and it's anything but. Okay, and so it's important for you to actually go and get a shadow day. And in this shadow day, you should ask for how many hours you want. You don't want like a little 4-hour shadow day. You really don't. You want a full day of shadowing, if it's allowed. Now, if their full day is like 24 hours, maybe a 12-hour, 10-hour shift type of thing. If their full day is an 8-hour day, sometimes people may not necessarily want you tagging along with them for the full 8 hours, so maybe 6 hours. But honestly, you need to get as many hours in as possible, because people can't help but be themselves. Okay, and so it is very difficult to hide the various different cracks and issues in a particular position when you're going through your day-to-day work. If somebody's a complainer, they're going to complain. If management is poor and it's not functioning well, there's going to be an opportunity for you to see the interactions between the provider and their staff. You're going to be able to listen and understand and hear and know what the staff feels about their providers or their particular job. You're also going to be able to obviously see like the workload, and obviously there are going to be days where maybe you chose a good day to shadow, and so like everything is running smoothly, but honestly, you're still going to be able to see any cracks in the foundation of this particular position that you're applying to if you spend enough time. But you really, really, really need to just be paying attention. Keep your eyes open and your ears peeled, okay, to what is happening. People, like I said, can't help but be themselves. It is very, very difficult to kind of put it on and, put on all that shine and glitter when things are specifically going bad, when you're stressed out. If things are going very much like how they always go, and there's a frustration with how things always go, it's not going to be easy to hide. So it is very important that you do a shadow day, ask for it, and if for whatever reason they say no to your shadow day request, you can take that as it is with a grain of salt. I do suggest that you absolutely ask. If you can't shadow, is there a reason why not? Depending on that that answer, then yeah, you can take that as a red flag or not. Maybe they may have a really good answer to it, but if they're like, oh, COVID policy or something, and then you go outside, like you leave in the office space and you look up and you see like their COVID policy is on green, which means everything is good, you're good to go, people can come in, visit, multiple visitors can come in, definitely take that as a red flag, okay? So those are my 3 things. You should absolutely positively ask what their retention rate is, ask what their community and the support system is like for specifically a new grad, obviously, but just the providers in general, and then ask for a shadow day. That is like very key when you are trying to source out the differences and I think like the pros and cons to one particular position versus another, especially if you're kind of in between. Ask for the shadow days and see which one kind of wins out. So hopefully this is helpful to you guys. If you have any other questions for me, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at AdannaThePA and on Instagram at Get That's the University, where we help you not only get into but through PA school. And guys, please like and subscribe, okay? Because it is important. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.